Hello again, everybody. This is Gary Atwood from Dana Medical Library. I wanted to take a few minutes to show you that database that I had mentioned this morning but didn't have time to show you. The name of it is called LitCOVID, and what it does is it's pulling together all kinds of research information about the coronavirus, and it's a faster way to get at some of that information. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about what it looks like and how you can search it. So the database doesn't have a really easy to remember URL, so probably the fastest way to find it is to just go ahead and Google LitCOVID. And once you do, it should be the top result. Obviously, you're going to go ahead and open it up. And as you can see, it looks a lot different than PubMed does. And the search interface is pretty graphical. So for example, if you wanted to see all of the research that just came out, the most recent stuff, you could come over here and click on this bar graph, and it would go ahead and open it up and show you that there are 1,785 publications. And if you wanted to further reduce things down, you can, LitCOVID will automatically generate some limits for you on the side. You can't turn on any new ones like you can in PubMed, and that's kind of a problem in my book, but that's okay. If we wanted to narrow down to the most recent things about the United States, you could check that box off and it would take a look at that. You can also, the latest things that have been added show up right here. So we can see these are things that probably came in either today or late in the evening yesterday. And then they also have it broken down into these general categories like general and mechanism and transmission and diagnosis and treatment. So the idea is that if you are really interested about things that are articles that deal with say the treatment of COVID-19, you could go ahead and click on treatment and it will automatically limit all of those 28,000 plus articles down to just the ones that talk about treatment. And again, you can see you could narrow down by time frame, or you can narrow down by chemicals, journals, or countries as well. You can search LitCOVID. So for example, if we wanted to do our social distancing search, you can go ahead and run that. And you can see we got 656 articles for that. Searching works at a pretty basic level. You can use quotation marks so that two words are pulled together in a phrase like we did here. You can even use your ors and your ands like we did in PubMed, but you can't get really complicated. It doesn't seem to do a good job in terms of pulling up all of the same articles. So you know, actually I don't even need to put in COVID-19, but I could put in adults, and see that brought us to 9. I'm sure that those 9 are fine. It's just we're not quite sure exactly how LitCOVID is processing our search terms, and whenever that happens, I always get a little concerned about that. I like to have a little bit more control about it. And PubMed will give you that control, but LitCOVID is a great way to just jump into the literature. And once you see something that you like, so let's say, for example, I'm interested in this first one, I click on it, the abstract is there, so I can read that again to see if it's something I want. There's a button for full text. If something has a full text button in here, you should be able to get to it. So in this case, this particular one opened up. So that's pretty similar. And it also has, remember that similar publications thing that I showed you in PubMed, that Amazon thing? That appears here in LitCOVID as well. So the idea is that if you like this article, you might like some of these articles that appear on the right-hand side as well. So that's a really quick look at the LitCOVID database. It's a great place to go and look if you're just trying to jump into the COVID-19 literature and are just trying to get a sense of what's been published recently, or if you're trying to see some trends that show up. So it isn't a substitute for PubMed. PubMed does some things good. LitCOVID does some things differently, but does them equally as good. So it's good to keep both of them sort of in your bag of tricks when you're trying to find literature about COVID-19.